because, I feel like this Florida game between UCF, I kind of mentioned earlier that West Kentucky is going to be a good game between Appalachian State. I feel like this has potential to be a great game with the Gators against the Knights. This is one of those games UCF has been waiting years to play Florida, and I think they're very fortunate this year where Florida is not as good as they have been in years past. Emory Jones, I think he's expected to start this game. Richardson won't be playing. It kind of pains me to say it again, but my other team losing. But I don't see Florida winning this game. I feel like UCF, they are prepared for this game like they have been for years. Like I mentioned, I'm going to take UCF to beating Florida in this one.
This is one of those games that I feel like could go either way. I think it's going to come down to the mindset of Florida. I think athlete for athlete, I think they have the edge. But as far as, where are they going to be at mentally within their preparation and that type of thing? So, how focused is Emory Jones going to be? He's already announced that he's going to be transferring, but he is going to be playing in the bowl game. So, is he going to come out careless because of that? Or is he going to come out and say, this is my last game as a Florida Gator. I want to leave on a good note. So, it's just unpredictable at this point. Everything about Florida's program for the past year has been unpredictable. And, I'm expecting a good game as well. A lot of these players probably played against each other in high school and that type of thing. So, there's somewhat of a rivalry already established. And obviously UCF has been waiting to get their chance against Florida. And, what better time to get them than when they don't have a head coach on the sidelines or really a real staff on the sidelines. So it's one of those things where it's kind of a lose-lose for Florida. If you win the game, well, you were supposed to. If you lose the game, then, the joke's on you, I guess. So, I'm concerned about Florida and their mentality in this game. So, like I said, whichever Florida team shows up, it's going to determine whether they win or lose. But, I'm hoping that they can come out with the win. And I think basically from what I saw against Florida State, I think that they still have a little bit of pride in the tank. So I'm going to pick Florida, but I'm going to pick them, by a narrow margin, maybe a field goal or a touchdown or less, basically. Well, as far as the news, I think it was pretty expected. I don't think that it caught anybody off guard that he was going to transfer. I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall that it was going to be Anthony Richardson's team moving forward. And as far as potential placements for where he could end up, I'm not sure of any one particular school. I think as far as just a basic type of place that he could end up, I could see him possibly going to a lower Power 5 or higher Group of 5 school. And one team that, I don't know why, but this team kind of intrigues me with Emory Jones is Cincinnati. They're losing Desmond Ridder. I think that Emory Jones could really step right in at a place like Cincinnati and, keep some of their success going into next season. So, like I said, I haven't heard any rumors about potential destinations, but that's just one place that, if I were Emory Jones, I would possibly reach out and see if that interest is mutual.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati makes a lot of sense. That's a team I've thought of a couple of times. And I know we were talking the other day, and I mentioned a team I think is kind of a dark horse, and I think it's Nebraska. And you look at Nebraska, they're losing Martinez. He's transferring to Kansas State. And this is Scott Frost. He has one final year to prove that he is a good coach for the Cornhuskers. They've kind of lacked, consistent quarterback play. Martinez, he's one of the best quarterbacks in Nebraska history. But aside from him, they've not had anything great the last several years. I feel like if you add Emory Jones to Nebraska right now, they could really, light a fuel in their team. They've had so many games where they've had one possession losses this past year. I feel like if you add Jones to Nebraska, I feel like that's really a match made in heaven for Jones and Nebraska because, despite losing one of the best quarterbacks you've had in school history, you're gaining probably one of the best quarterbacks in this portal out there right now. I think Jones to the Cornhuskers makes a lot of sense. I don't think it will happen though, because like you said, Cincinnati makes a lot of sense as well. But with all the craziness we've seen the past couple of weeks in college football, it seems like anything can happen at this point.
Yeah, man. I mean, college football is crazy, and I mean, it's just so unpredictable. I mean, there's been things that have happened that no one saw happening. So, who knows? Maybe Emory Jones might find himself at a bigger school than what we're thinking. Maybe some sort of kind of lateral move, I guess you could say, from Florida. But at the moment, I don't see a team like that. But you never know. I mean, crazier things have happened.
And it's interesting because, you look at Jeff Driscoll. He was never great at Florida, but he went to Louisiana Tech. And then you also look at Felipe Franks, who is kind of similar to Jeff Driscoll, is like he had the potential, but he never really, he was never really consistent. And he ended up going to a, SEC school in Arkansas. So
Right.
you don't really know where Emory Jones fits in between those two guys. I feel like obviously he's going to be higher than a Louisiana Tech type of team, but maybe kind of that Arkansas level type of team, like Arkansas,
Yeah.
Nebraska, one of those teams who they're not a bad group of five, Power Five, but they're one of those teams who are in the rise. And if you add Emory Jones to your team, they could be one of the better teams in their conference.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and when I mentioned lower Power Five, I'm thinking like I'm just using these as an example, but like Missouri or South Carolina, or which actually Spencer Rattler just went to South Carolina, so I don't think Emory Jones is going there. But just as an example, that type of caliber of team, I think is somewhere that Emory Jones could end up, or like I said, he could go to a higher uh, group of five team like Cincinnati or someone like that, or you and I have talked about it, even a place like Marshall. I think he would be a great fit there. And we've talked about the NIL stuff, and how he could be that premier name at a place like Marshall. But I think the rest just remains to be seen at this point. We'll have to just wait and see where Emory ends up.